Ladies, stop looking for Boaz. He's not your husband. Christ is your redeemer. You see, I hear women say, I am looking for my Boaz. Do you even understand the story? Have you studied? See, ladies, you need to stop saying that you're waiting for your Boaz. That's not the relationship you want. That's not the kingdom revelation. That's a romantic confusion. You are quoting Ruth, but are you ignoring Christ? In this video, we are going to go deeper into the study of Boaz, and I want to break that myth of you saying that I'm waiting for my Boaz. You don't even understand that what you're doing yourself a disservice by saying I'm waiting for my Boaz. Do you understand the story? Do you understand what happened? Do you understand the redemptive message of that story? So my people perish for lack of knowledge, and that is Hosea 4:6. You need to study to show yourself approved. You need to read and understand what is going on. So it is time to break the idol of Boaz, because the Boaz you are quoting wasn't even looking for a wife. This man wasn't even looking for a wife. You're quoting something that is not even right. The book of Ruth is not a love story. It's a redemptive scroll. It was positioned in the days when Israel had no king, and everybody did what they thought was right in their own eyes. And you can read that in Judges 21:25. So Ruth 1:1 says, the days when the judges ruled, everybody were doing things that, they thought was right. And possibly the author Samuel was not teaching you how to find a man. He was revealing how God preserved covenant through chaos. A lot that was going on. There was no king, there was nobody. It was judges. So the book is trying to tell you how God preserves covenant through chaos. Boaz wasn't a Ruth's dream man. No, he was Naomi's strategy. You had to see how when you read the story of Ruth and Naomi, how they planned, how Ruth listened to wise counsel from Naomi. And the strategy was based on the Levirate laws in Deuteronomy 25. So you have to understand that this thing was in the time when there were certain laws that governed the land. So who was Boaz really? Have you ever asked yourself that question? Who was Boaz really? Ruth 2:1 tells us who Boaz was. Boaz was a man of great wealth. Boaz was a landowner. He was a kinsman redeemer. He was a man who responded to Ruth but never pursued Ruth. Ruth was working. He says to this man, I am your servant. And he responded to Ruth. And everything was orchestrated. It was planned. It was a strategy between Naomi and Ruth. And he was just a man that responded to Ruth. He never pursued Ruth. Ladies, listen. Ruth proposed to Boaz and not the other way around. And you may say, how? If you read Ruth 3:9, it says, I am your servant Ruth. This is Ruth talking to Boaz. And she goes on to say, spread your garment over me. That's a proposal. That's Ruth proposing. So you say you want a Boaz. Have you gone out there to propose to a man that you see that can be your potential husband or your potential soulmate or somebody you want to be in a relationship with? But you say, I'm waiting on my own Boaz. Boaz did not go after Ruth. Ruth went after him. It was a strategy. She proposed to him. She went and said, I am your servant. Spread your garment over me. And that wasn't a flattering or a flirtation statement. It was a legal petition for redemption, not a cute love story. Boaz wasn't the man who swept Ruth off her feet. He was the man who fulfilled covenant and responsibility. So you going around saying, I'm looking for my Boaz, but you don't even want to speak to a man. You don't want to respond to a man's message. Somebody's trying to get your attention and you keep saying, I'm waiting for my Boaz. And that's one reason why a lot of you have been waiting for so long. You wait for so many years and your Boaz still has not showed up because you have not studied to show yourself approved. You see, people perish because lack of knowledge. Ruth did not pray for Boaz. She walked in purpose. She worked for it. She worked in purpose. So Ruth went out. When you read Ruth 2 verse 3, it says, so Ruth went out and began to glean the field. She went out and she began to work in the field. Why? Because she wanted Boaz to notice her. She did not wait for the DM. She didn't sit around fast for a husband. She took care of Naomi. She worked in the field, took instruction from wise counsel. She obeyed the strategic steps that Naomi told her to take. You are out here looking for a Boaz. You don't need your person in fantasy. You meet them in obedience. Let me say that again. You do not need your person in fantasy. You meet them in obedience. So people like me will come and teach, will come and explain things to you, will come and tell you that you need to walk in alignment, but you don't listen. You keep saying, I'm waiting on my Boaz. Somebody will send you a DM. You say red, you start seeing red flags instead of seeing green flags. You're not working in alignment, because when you work in alignment, your person that God has designed for you will meet you in where you are. You have to work in alignment. The person that God has sent for you is going to discern that you are his own. The real purpose of the book of Ruth, the book of Ruth is not a dating manual. It's about covenant alignment. It's about spiritual redemption and God waving a Moabite into the lineage of the Messiah. It is God's plan that he had to take the Moabite, a woman, and put them in the lineage of the Messiah. So Salem was the father of Boaz. Boaz the father of Obed. Obed the father of Jesse. Jesse the father of David. And you can read the rest of the story in Matthew 1:5-6. That was about Jesus, not about jury, not about destiny, not dating. Boaz is a shadow of Christ. Christ is the substance. Boaz brought land. He bought land and he redeemed Ruth. But you see Christ bought the world and he redeemed you. So you're not supposed to be looking for Boaz because he was a shadow. Boaz was a landowner. He bought things. He redeemed Ruth. But you see Christ came and he bought the entire world and he redeemed you. So it is wrong for you to say, I'm waiting for my Boaz, when you should be focused on Christ. Align yourself so that you can meet the man that God has created and made for you. So I'm going to give you 5 myths that women need to break about Boaz. Number 1 of that myth is you think that Boaz chased Ruth. Wrong. Ruth initiated under Naomi's counsel. So for those of you that think that Ruth is the one that chased Boaz, Boaz is the one that chased Ruth, you're wrong. Ruth followed the wise counseling of Naomi and she positioned herself. It was a strategy so that Boaz can notice her. Myth number 2, you say Boaz married for love. No, he married for lineage restoration, not romance. Myth number 3, Boaz is the standard for a Christian husband. Lie. Boaz was a placeholder in a failing system. Christ is the pattern for true love. Myth number 4, you need to wait for Boaz. Lie. The truth is, Ruth moved, she worked, and she showed up. So why are you waiting? You have to work and make yourself noticeable. Myth number 5, every woman will marry a Boaz. It is a lie. Every woman needs Christ. Not all will marry. And that is the reality of it. So you need to stop saying that you're waiting for your Boaz, because that's what it's not what it was. So I'm just going to give you some Bible references so you understand that for you to say I'm waiting on my Boaz is completely wrong. It's false. You're not supposed to say that. Isaiah 54:5. For your creator will be your husband. Christ will be your husband. You have to align with Christ so that you can identify your earthly husband. You can also read Galatians 3:13. Christ purchased your freedom. He redeemed you from the curse of the law. You're no more bound by the law. You can also read Proverbs 31:30. You don't want to be misled. You can also read 2 Corinthians 6:14. Do not be unequally yoked with unbelievers. You don't need to find a Boaz. this. You need to find a spiritual alignment and build a good relationship, not a carnal fantasy. Why are you fantasizing and saying, I need a Boaz? I'm waiting for my Boaz. That's a stupid and carnal fantasy. So I just came to just break that myth that you keep saying, I'm waiting on my Boaz. You better stop that. You need to stop that. Boaz is not your husband. Christ is your Redeemer. When you align with purpose, your real man will align with you. You wouldn't need to manipulate. You wouldn't need to guess. He'll match your purpose, not just your preference. You need to understand this. You need to understand that you need to make yourself noticeable. You need to understand that a man will see you when you are working in purpose. You need to understand that when you are a lover of Christ, when you are a follower of Christ, when you follow God and He's pulling you out of where you are at, it doesn't matter how many failed relationships that you have had that has gotten to the point of you saying, I'm waiting on my Boaz. It doesn't matter. You need to align yourself with God's purpose and why He created you. And Matthew 6:33 says, seek first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and all things will be added on to you. So you need to stop waiting on Boaz and start walking with Christ. Because when you walk in purpose, the right person doesn't delay. They discern. They see you. They notice you. Your spirit will announce you when you are talking online, when you appear in spaces, when you enter any establishment. When you are walking in alignment, when you are living a purpose, when you are doing what you're supposed to do, that man will locate you. You don't have to say anything. You have to also work. You have to respond to DMs. You have to give people your phone number. You have to be approachable. You have to work on your character. You have to step out in that situation that you are pained, you are hurt, you are disappointment, unmet expectations. You have to understand that you are enough. You have to step out of thinking that you are not enough and stop saying that you're waiting on your Boaz. Because when you say that you're waiting on your Boaz, for me, it spells fear. It spells insecurity. It spells a whole lot. Self-defense. It tells me that you're not even ready. It tells me that you're not healed. It tells me that you're living in doubt. It tells me that you are overthinker, you overanalyze anything, you are a perfectionist, which is all dressed in tuxedo, and that is all fear and doubt and insecurity. All of that. When you say I'm a logical thinker, yes, yeah, it's fear. When you say I'm waiting on my Boaz, do you understand that Boaz was not looking for a wife? He wasn't even interested. He was basically doing his business. But you had to understand that the purpose for that was for God to bring the Moabite and put them in the lineage of the Messiah because of who Naomi was and because of who Ruth was. So God had to change things. God had to perfectly orchestrate that movement so that the lineage will come. They will become the lineage and they will get into the lineage of Jesus Christ. And you're here saying that you're looking for your Boaz when God has redeemed you, when you've been bought, and when God has given you freedom, and you're waiting in your Boaz. You are going to wait. A lot of you don't understand that Boaz was an old man. He wasn't looking for a wife. So are you looking for an old man that's not even looking for a wife? That doesn't even care about romance, doesn't even care about love? Or are you transactional, waiting for a man that has money who would just come and then you identify the man? And even if a man has money, you still have to, okay, so if you're Ruth now, you're waiting for your Boaz, you have to go and speak to the man. You have to go and locate the man that has money, that has substance, because that's who Boaz was. So you're waiting your Boaz, you're waiting for a man that has money to come and sweep you off your feet. That is not Boaz. You have to be aligned so that the man that God has created for you and made for you will locate you, and that man will discern. You don't have to do anything. Work on yourself, work on your character, become spiritually aligned, and that man will locate you. And if this video has hit you well, I want you to like, I want you to share, and I want you to comment. Send this video to whomever that you feel need to hear this message, because this message is for you and everybody out there. As you share this message, God bless you. And I need you to get out of that space that you're looking for your Boaz. Align yourself with the purpose why you were created here and follow Christ, and your man will locate you. God bless you.